Good morning, Steve. Good morning,
morning,
everybody.
Sean. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday is right. I love Mondays.
That's right.
I know that's not the way it's supposed to be, but get to meet up with everybody and start over again and see what new adventures for the week.
Yep.
So today we have an interesting day planned, right?
Think so. Talking about business tracker, and I thought what we would do before we get into just, we know a lot of our agents have CRMs or they're using a form of contact management. But if not, I thought maybe what we would do, Sean, is maybe start the meeting talking about the importance of a CRM, and because I think there are four models that every agent, high producing agent, an agent that wants to live their best life agent, that they have to produce for themselves. One's a lead gen model, the other is an economic model, a budget model, and an organizational model. So like yourself at Thrive, when you built your team, am I stretching out on a limb here to say that you didn't have each one of those models?
Not initially, but
no, not initially.
Pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
So I think that, the two most important models I think an agent wants to begin with, or at least start to lay the foundation for their business, would be their lead gen and economic model, because those two have to tie together. What's your financial capacity right now to invest in your business? And then more importantly, how are you tracking your numbers so that you can figure out what actions you're taking are producing activities that are producing results, right? Because activity and productivity are not mutually exclusive, are they?
No, but they don't always mean the same thing either.
No, because I see a lot of people doing a lot of stuff. They come to the office, they're working on a lot of stuff, they're spinning around, they look like they're, a tornado, doing things. And but it's not leading to the productivity. So knowing what productive activities or dollar productive activities an agent should be focusing on is really crucial. And I think something like Business Tracker or CRM helps you wake up every morning knowing who you need to be speaking to and what activities you need to be focusing on, right? Because not all activities are the same, right? They don't have the same result, do they?
No. Well, it's funny. I had the same thought too. You're going. My wife and I, Lisa and I, we went out to brunch yesterday. We went up to Alpine to brunch, and waitress was really nice. We're talking to her. Married to a Navy guy. They've been back in town for 4 months, 5 months. So they bought a home in Alpine. Oh, that's fantastic. Who was your agent? Gee, I don't remember. 4 months. She doesn't remember. Why? Because the agent hasn't contacted them once since they bought the home. That's just lost business over and over and over.
Yeah.
So I had the same thought that you did.
Yeah. I mean, agents, if it's not hard enough to secure the business, to get them in your world and not nurture the relationship to get to who they know, right? Because again, one of the advantages of a business tracker or a lead or CRM lead generation tool is, and I don't mean to sound intellectually lazy here, but the truth is that you know that you know that you know that you know. And the truth here is that it's not who you know, it's who they know that's most important. And the fact that you've taken care of them and they trust you, what you want to do in following up to your point is you want to be creating little, evangelicals spreading your positivity, who you are and what you do well into the world. Yeah.
Well, I always look at it as the whole idea is to get an appointment or to add someone to your CRM. Everyone I talk to, that's what I'm looking to get. Those are the two objectives. And we know that we're expecting a 10% conversion rate out of our sphere. So if you have 100 people in your sphere, you can expect about 10 transactions a year. If you have 1,000 people in your sphere, you're going to have 100 transactions a year. The easier way to at least for me in my head, because I like to keep things really simple, is I say, what is the average GCI? Let's say it's $20,000. Okay, well, if I'm getting a 10% conversion up in my sphere, then that means every single person is basically paying me 10% of a commission. So, in effect, everyone you know is telling you, I will write you a check for $2,000 every year, forever, if you promise to stay in touch with me. Now, would you ever turn that check down? Of course not. I'll pay you $2,000 a year. You just need to stay in touch with me, please. That's
Right.
a good business deal.
Right.
That's the whole. And then pretty soon you have 600 people in your CRM, and people say, "What do you do for a living?" Well, I go in the office every day and I spend a couple hours chatting with my friends, see how they're doing. Really? They pay you for that? $750,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's a heck of a good business for chatting with friends every day. That's why we got to get the
Yeah.
CRM built out and then utilize these tools.
And know that, what we're dealing with in the market we have is, again, it's unprecedented. Like the last market that was an extreme seller's market was back in 2008. And in reality, it kind of pales in comparison. In 2002, NAR did a study that said that for an appointment to agreement, meaning for every contact you can make that would lead to an appointment, that appointment would lead to an agreement, had like a 24-to-1 ratio.
Okay.
Today, there was a study that was done. Oh, I should say, I pulled this from NAR's site. There was a study done in 2008. Now, that was that extreme market, okay? Now, mind you, what I'm about to share with you in terms of data, we're dealing with a market that's more extreme than this. But over in 2008, in Florida, a survey was done where they tracked a set of real estate agents. These agents made 846 contacts, which led to 276 listing leads and 229 buyers leads. So that's 500 plus leads were generated just by making these 846 contacts. Of those contacts that were made, 66 listings were taken and 60 buyer agreements were entered into. So that's 126 agreements out of 846 contacts. And out of those agreements, they produced 44 contracts that equaled 25 closed deals in an 8-week period. So you can see I'm not real good at math, but when you look at those numbers and you compare them, and again, I don't have all the data points from the 2002 survey, but one thing would stand out to me is that you have to work probably 4 times harder to generate that amount of business. And so if you're going to put the effort in, you have to track your numbers and know what's working for you and what's not working for you. And if you don't have a solid foundation in which to do that,
we say this over and over. What I'm hearing, it has to be run like a business.
Yeah.
If you had a brick and mortar business, if you sold shoes or lumber or whatever, we would have to know to the penny everything that's going on. We have to know that we can open the door tomorrow. We have to know what our inventory is. We have to know how sales are working. Are we losing money with lost leaders? Can we put a sale on and get more people? We have to know all of our numbers. Only in real estate, which is a multi-billion-dollar business, do we go in and not act like business people. Not at first. A surprising number of Compass agents actually do, which is probably why they're here. Compass is just a funny company because they're so select about who they allow to join that the numbers in general are not the same numbers we see at Compass. That I'm finding over and over, that it's skewed. The agents here tend to already be much further down the path that they should be on, or they wouldn't be doing the business they're doing. So congratulations. I mean, it is a funny place to be because it's not the norm in real estate.
Yeah.
And they keep handing us these tools to make it better. That's the business tracker is a game changer.
Yeah, it really is. The fact that it can be, you can be entering information with a mobile device, your phone or Android phone. You can move selectively a person from a prospect to a listing candidate, buyer candidate, follow-up candidate. All of these things can be done so seamlessly in a place that is very intuitive. I was on Business Tracker early this morning, just kind of putzing around in there. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Business Tracker, know that you can go to the Compass Academy. So when you land on your Compass, your homepage, you'll see 3 little dots on the left-hand corner. There's a menu of options to your left, and you'll see 3 dots. Compass Academy won't be visible on that main menu. So you have to click on those 3 little dots, And then you'll see Compass Academy, and you can select Business Tracker. And there are training modules in there that will help you each step of the way to help you, either convert or move over a database, and or just to enter an individual, and then go over the different action plans that are embedded in Business Tracker. So just as a side note.
I'm curious, there's that little button that raises your hand.
Yeah.
How many here have gone in and utilized Business Tracker? Raise your hand. The little.
Awesome. Michelle, John.
So
good.
probably
Good.
10% of the people here, 15%?
Yep.
Oh, wait, more hands.
Wayne has. Yeah, they're coming up.
Okay.
Cheyenne, good.
So, oh, good, more. Okay, so maybe half. When I look at, Compass has these 4 tools that we market all the time, right? We have the concierge, we have bridge loans, we have our exclusive listing, and we have our collections. Those are the big 4 tools that are outward facing, that separate us from a lot of other brokerage. But the inward facing tool that I think is more important and will make a bigger impact on your career than any of them is this Business Tracker. I don't think I'm overselling it. Do you, Steve?
No, I talk about anyone that lives in my world knows that I preach about the importance of a CRM. I mean, ours is called Business Tracker. If you've got one that's up and running for you, great. Business Tracker does some different things that are unique to us with AI and lead generation capabilities that may or may not be present in your current. But no, Sean, nothing, I've said this till I'm blue in the face. There are 2 critical things that any person, he or she, who's going to be serious about their business, if they want to have a life worth living and a career worth having, you have to master a listing presentation, master it, and you have to have a lead generation or a CRM business management tool. Those 2 are mutually exclusive. You have to have both. If you have both, your success is inevitable. So I don't know how.
I like that.
Well, it's true, isn't it? Because if I can track what's working or where I need to spend my time more effectively, and if in that same time, that tool is helping me identify things that aren't producing because I'm tracking my numbers, I could be smart about my money. I can be more smart about my time, and I can be more dollar productive in what I'm doing instead of just, using my God-given talent like some folks have. I mean, there are people that can wake up, Sean, right? And God packaged them to look and sound and do real estate. No, seriously, right? I mean, there are people that just wait. They're like the Michael Jordans of real estate, right? Mm-hmm. Michael Jordan was just born to play basketball. Baseball, not so much. Right? We saw him, but basketball, right? And there are people in our business that are the same way. They just have natural abilities that are just suited for our business. But even those folks need guardrails. And the guardrails are knowing where should I be spending my time? Where can I be most effective? And yes, so I'm sorry to overstate it, but I don't think you can, the importance of having.
Remember, even with that, Michael Jordan didn't become who he was.
No.
And they didn't become champions until Phil Jackson stepped in.
That's right. Yeah.
You need to have that outside accountability.
Yeah.
So the Business Tracker, though, we're talking about it, but what is it? If you go in and play with this, you're going to find this has always been kind of the wish list for everybody in real estate. It's a one-stop shop. If you go into Business Tracker, your leads are there, your prospects, your suspects, all the way up to your in escrow. Everything's there. It's all connected. From one place, you can go get your marketing pieces. You can send out marketing pieces. You can find out what's missing from your transaction right now. And you can share it all with your team if you have one. It's literally as if you walked around with 5 or 6 whiteboards at all times or now, because it's in your phone, all the information. That's an amazing, amazing amount of control and communication that you have now in this one site.
And can I just say, add to that, Sean, it's not just about leads and tracking in the sense of just pure commercialism for your business, right? That endeavor. It's about relationships. I mean, every time you speak with someone and you self-discover something that's important to them, the fact that you could have Business Tracker on your cell phone and immediately jot that note. I just learned today that Sean loves fly fishing, right? That's all I need to put in there, right? I don't need to know what you love to fish or what type of fish or where you fish. I'm actively listening for those things that matter to you. And those things end up in your Business Tracker so that when I engage with you down the road, I wow you by remembering things that are important to you. So it's just not about parking them into a space and they're just a number in your world. You're trying to build a relationship with people, and you aren't good enough. If you think that you are good enough to remember that stuff, I used to think that for a bit too. But let me tell you what happens. Today's my birthday, right? So I'm 57 today.
Today's your birthday, really?
Yeah. 57-year-old brain doesn't work like my 26-year-old brain. I'm just telling you, it doesn't. And I jot notes now more than I ever have before because I don't have the same recall on critical things. Now, I can be just as effective as a 25-year-old, 27-year-old, 30-year-old. I can have the same snap memory as long as I have the tool that's reminding me what it is that's important to you. And I remind you in subtle ways that I remember that. I'm telling you.
When you remember something that's important to me, you're making me feel important. That's the whole point.
I'm nourishing the relationship. Like, it's like, how do you do that? It's not just about buying people pianos and pool tables and refrigerators, and it's about let me know that I matter to you. And if you don't have a CRM or you don't have a Business Tracker that allows for that, so that on the commercial side of the relationship, the business side of the relationship, that's going to be what it's going to be, right? It's how you make me feel that people will remember. And I think you have to have a tool like this to do this if you want to perform at your highest level.
Right. That's where the true benefits come in as we start talking about time efficiencies. Earlier you were talking about what activities are we doing? Yeah. There's $20 an hour activities and there's $200 an hour activities.
Right.
Every hour you spend on a $20 an hour activity, you lost $480. $180. And so when you can use systems like this so that your time is going into the one thing that only you can do, only you can be you, only you can sit in front of a client and create that trust and that rapport. That's not replaceable. Everything else can be assigned off. We can use these phenomenal tools and get you out of the $20 an hour work and get you in front of people, which is where every one of you guys belong. That's why you're here. That's why you shine.
Well, and I don't mean to preach, but and I would love it even now. I mean, we're at 7:18. Maybe this particular session, more than any other, we could have some exchange with everyone on the line if they're hesitant or are unsure where to begin. But the bottom line is you cannot change anything that you can't track or acknowledge in your business. It's really difficult. You can know that there are certain areas where you are struggling with I don't have enough listings. I don't have enough buyers. You can't sit down with any coach that could just sit down with you and start giving you things to do and think you're going to change your outcomes. Let me tell you how that works. I've read the book, seen the movie. That don't work either. And when it does work, you're both being lazy, your coach and you, because the only thing that happens when success occurs is that your goals and your coach's goals were mutual. They were aligned. But rarely is it the case where an agent is finding themselves wanting to improve their business where they can actually do that when they're not measuring certain activities. Now, it seems a bit intimidating. This is like building a business plan, right? I mean, like, it'll freak some people out to think that, oh man, I don't know if I have time for that. I don't know that you don't have time for it. Like I'm just saying that.
This comes up in I do a lot of carpentry on the side in my hobby woodworking. The saying is, there's never time to do it right, but there's always time to do it again.
Yeah, right. Measure twice, do it right once, right? Isn't that what you want to do? Right.
Right.
That's how that goes. So yeah, I just if there's any questions or like just throw them out there now. Let us tackle them. If there's something holding you back, or if there's something you'd like to see us do, Sean and I, or the sales managers, in supporting you in this, because again, Compass Academy is one thing, but we are here Like, this is so important. We're heading into the business planning months.
Right.
So if you're not thinking about 2022 here in September and October, like right now, you're already kind of falling behind. I don't mean to sound negative, but you're falling behind. You have to have a clear vision of where you want to be so that Q1 you can be on track. It is rare, extraordinarily rare, for an agent to come out of Q1 trailing behind their goals and meet their plan.
But you have to roll into the new year strong.
You've got to come out of the gates like a horse that just, when the Breeders' Cup is here, right, in a couple, many weeks. And when they open those gates, those horses know it's time to go. And you need to have that same kind of like that bell ringing off on January 1. We'll be with family. We'll be we'll be celebrating the new year and hopefully another year closer to normal, which I'm all for. But, you have that bell go off in your head, just like you hear it when they're running the Derby. You're thoroughbreds. Everyone on this call is a thoroughbred. And you need to run like one. And you need to run your business like one. So.
Right. And we have a business plan, but we want to have a monthly plan, a weekly plan. There's no reason to tell you guys. You already know how crazy real estate is. It will pull at you and your calendar all day long. But if you go into, we're about to go into September. Everybody I coach, everybody I work with is going to know September is when we do everything we can to put the fourth quarter on ice, to have it go nuts. We have to be thinking about that in September in order to make it happen in the fourth quarter. Once we get into the fourth quarter, we're thinking about the first quarter of next year now. Now we're doing our business planning. Now we're setting up, hey, I'm thinking about testing a new income stream. I'm going to start going after B2B. I'm going to start doing expired, whatever it is. Well, that's where we play with that. That's in November. We experiment with that. So September is setting up your fourth quarter. Your fourth quarter is setting up your first. And here's the funny thing you hear from agents across the board. Yeah, December really slows down. December, January. Generally speaking, the slowest month of the year is actually February. And that's because all the agents took off December. Everybody goes into vacation mode, and then their February really hurts. If you have any kind of competitive juice, there's a really cool feeling come Thanksgiving when you start watching everybody tuning out and you're revving up. They can't catch back. You can't take market share from someone who's revved up while you slow down. They can't get it back.
No.
You just smile every day.
Yeah. It's all about, it's about momentum. And let me just take a second to talk about what momentum is in the way I see it. Momentum is attitude. That's all it is. If you've ever, again, I'm sorry for any of you who aren't sports people, but I just learned so many lessons in sports. And one that sticks with me is this concept of momentum. And you can watch a football team that is, or a hockey team, you name your sport. Pitcher is just giving up the game-tying run in the ninth inning. You're 1 out away. And you can just look at the body language of the players. And to a person, pitcher most of all, they'll be dejected and down. And the other team is just, they'll run out of the dugout to meet the hitter at the plate. Or you'll see a fumble, right as a team is driving down the field with a minute left. And they think all is lost, only to find that the defense goes out and gets the ball back on the very next play. These things have happened in life. And you just watch the attitude go from nothingness, like complete dejection, to the most euphoric energy that pushes them forward to achieve their goals, and which is obviously in sports to win the game. Well, I think real estate's a game. When you go out on a listing presentation or you're meeting with a buyer who's considering another agent, they're evaluating you, your competency, your expertise against that of another. And you want to make sure that when you have the at-bat, you're able to hit the home run. But more importantly, you want to make sure you've got something that's allowing you to keep your pipeline, your contacts coming at you. Because like I said earlier, it's very hard. It's harder to produce the numbers you'll need to produce for your business plan in a market that's like this, right? Where you have constraint inventory, homes are selling quickly. You've really got to be on purpose with your business. You've got to be on purpose with how you're tracking it. And And then that will give you momentum. That will give you a positive energy. When you're doing something that you know is producing to the bottom line, it will change your habits. The more time you spend here getting this right, your habits are going to change. You'll begin to master one of the most difficult aspects of the business is this here. This is why it's it's like lead generation or prospecting or business planning. These are the two ugly subjects, but this is what separates the women from the girls and the men from the boys. Those of us that can spend our time here and get it right. It is the baseline of everything important. So anyway, any just questions or concerns, anything that anyone wanted to share as it relates to business planning or business tracker? Anybody? Okay.
We have a very focused group. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you guys something. One of the hardest parts is, I know I should stay in touch with my people, but I don't know what to say. I don't want to be salesy. What do I say? So there's one that I'm giving to all my agents right now. I love this. Call everyone you know and say, hey, home prices, as you're well aware, have appreciated a lot. Your equity has increased, probably more than you even know. What I'm wondering if you've noticed is what's happened to building materials. Lumber and plywood and things like that, they've gone up 200 to 300% as well. So here's what we need to do. We need to call your homeowner's insurance agent and make sure you're still properly covered. I'll bet a large majority of your clients and your friends and family are not properly covered right now. And that's just you. Look, this is what I do for a living. I take care of my people's biggest asset.
Safeguarding their interest. That's perfect, Sean. I love it.
That gives you reason to call everybody, and they'll love you for it. And some, right, Steve, some percentage will say, wow, how much has my home gone up in value? That's an interesting question. Why do you ask?
Yeah.
And you just doing the right thing by people will also generate business. It'll certainly ingrain that you are the protector of their asset.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's a great tip, Sean. A great tip. It's one, like you said, that people will you'll endear yourselves to them. You're safeguarding their interest. Those are the things that matter, Not
going back to making them important.
Yep.
You said.
In every conversation you have with them, be actively listening for something that's important in their life. Kid graduating from high school, kid graduating from college, their daughter having a baby, son having a child, son going off to join the military. Any of these things are life events that really matter to a family. Your business tracker can help you manage those relationships in a very high level way.
They usually entail the need to buy or sell a home. Life's big moments usually have something to do with real estate.
Yeah.
We got to listen for them. And when you can anticipate it, because you've been keeping notes in the business tracker, and you're talking to them first, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Now they're really impressed with you. And should be.
Yeah.
All right. Anything before we go? Anybody have a question? Anybody want to unmute? Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to get your guys' insight on how you guys track your P&L.
Steve, how do you track
our P&L?
Office?
Well, there are certain performance characteristics. We're still developing at Compass, so we as sales managers don't have access to all of the data points that we would want to effectively run a profit-driven business. But let me tell you some of the areas I would always focus on. Whenever I looked at my business plan for the office, I'm looking 3 months out. I know what the budget is. I know what my expenses are, and I want to make sure that 3 months out that my sales team is generating enough revenue through listings and buyer-controlled sales to meet those to break even. I'm also tracking what is my effective desk occupancy. So for the number of agents I have in my life, and a desk has a cost assigned to every office, is that agent, given if they have an office, a desk, or a semi-private office, an office, are they producing enough to warrant that? And that allows me to have a coaching conversation or a business conversation about making sure they're able to maintain those things, because its takeaways are horrible. But those two are kind of exclusive, aren't they? If I'm looking at my pipeline 3 months out to see what business is coming in, and I've got an agent who's occupying a space who's not effectively covering the cost, that helps me figure out, Randall, who I need to be talking to, who may need my help, because they're not raising their hand and asking for it. And so those are two numbers. If I had a speedometer on my dashboard, and I was, you have oil pressure, you have fuel, you have, RPMs. To me, those two are the two that stick out for me, Randall, in running an effective business. If I know what my agents are doing, and I know those that may be struggling, and I'm also tracking what my pipeline looks like 3 months out, as to not have a month that's not profitable, or I'm covering my expenses, I'm probably going to have a successful year as it relates to my P&L and my business. Because I can't sell, right? I can't sell. I need you all to do that. We need you to do that. We're making investments. Here's the thing about
down, Steve.
Yeah.
For he's got to sell. What you track isn't the same thing he's going to
do. No,
do.
that's right.
The high-level ideas matter.
Yeah.
And here's what I'll share with you. There's fancy programs out there for this. When I was running the team, it was a spreadsheet. And here's the kicker that I think that everyone should pay attention to. Everything I spend has to have an ROI. I can't get that in most of those programs. I can do it on a spreadsheet. I don't mind paying $2,000 a month for coaching if I'm generating 8 more deals at $20,000. Everything you spend money on is an investment in you or your business. What's the return?
That's exactly
I had to do that on a spreadsheet.
That's exactly right, Sean. Yeah.
There's no cost, right? And the same thing we give to when clients ask you, well, what do your services cost? My services don't cost a damn thing. You invest 5%, and this is what I do for you on your home and the equity that you get out. It's always an investment. It's never a cost.
Yeah. Yeah, if I misunderstood Randall's question, I'm sorry. I thought he was asking, like, for me, what do
No, it was good. I'm glad I got to see a little insight on what you guys are thinking about in your P&L. But
yeah,
it's something my wife and I talked about. We did like a 3-month run of social media marketing through Compass, and all I got was like kind of junk leads or impressions from them. So didn't really get any ROI on that, but I wanted to try it out. But what we talked about was that our biggest ROI is any time that her and I can get in front of a large amount of people. And we get a lot of ROI from that. Right. And honestly, it costs about the same. So yeah, thank you.
That leads you to workshops, I'm assuming.
Yeah, or like we sponsored a community event, like a party in our neighborhood, like those kinds of things.
That's awesome, Randall. I think a lot of agents, they spend a lot of time marketing, or they want to spend a lot of time in that space creatively. But in reality, it's creative avoidance. Getting face-to-face with people is the best and most dollar-productive thing you can do, however that is. Hosting events, client appreciation parties, knocking on door, whatever it is where you can talk about our business face-to-face. And, just looking at, Randall, the way you present yourself here, just the way you're speaking, the questions you're asking, I mean, you are conveying a level of confidence that would attract people to you. I'm just telling you that. I don't even know you, but through your questions. And you can see how certain people carry themselves, and they have a natural magnet that way. And that acumen that you have is going to serve you well, just when you're in front of people. You can't sense that behind a postcard. I can't get a sense of how much you care for me behind a mailer. And if all you're ever doing is mailing, you just listed, you just sold, and you think that is, there's a great book, and I'll get it, and I'll put it in the chat, or I'll email everyone. I just can't remember the author, but it's about branding, and I read it about 2-3 years ago. Oh shoot, I'm forgetting the title. But in this book, it talks about just the importance of having the one-on-ones as opposed to drowning yourself in marketing. That doesn't allow you to build meaningful relationships with people. You can buy a piece of someone's brain, but that doesn't mean they're going to use you.
It's not a relationship.
It's not a relationship.
There's a great script line for all of you when someone says that, and they say, well, why don't you send me something? Because again, they're looking for avoidance too. And the response is, I would, but I've never yet done anything that sells me as well as I sell. How about tomorrow at 2:00?
Right.
I'm not going to mail you anything. I want to stand in front of you and look at you eye to eye, chat. Okay, we're way over, Steve.
Yep.
We're going to stop recording. We'll hang out if anybody else has a question or a suggestion for an Inside the Huddle, but we're going to kill the recording right now.
I was just looking for that book on my phone. I'm sorry. But I'll get it to everybody. It's a great book.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Randall.